So let's not make it more waiting and we'll start. Welcome to this club. So yeah, today we have our very first event, which is Bootstrap, which is more of a webinar where we are trying to address all of your queries that were posted on Google Forms. And also, we are trying to address some of the major tech domains that will be helpful for you and trying to give a proper roadmap for you all. So, first of all, let's see what exactly is Linux Campus Club. So, as you can see, we are one of the oldest club. We started in 2004, and also we are one of the largest club in the campus all too. And we basically follow three principles, which is congregate, create, and contribute. Uh, for a moment, am I audible? Just checking with it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool, then we'll continue. So these principles are like people come together. That's what congregate means. Then we think, we find real world problems. We create some of the good solutions that are impactful. And finally, we contribute. Basically, all the solutions that we would have solved, we contribute through open source projects and betterment of the society. And we basically conduct a lot of events too, such as annual fests. So you'll be seeing one of our annual fest in very April of 2026. And we conduct a lot of boot camps, technical session, workshops, so that you stay updated to the current trends that we are right now. And we also perform a lot of tech talks from industry experts. So we get our placed alumni and have them on board for a lot of sessions where you learn about current industry requirements and what exactly people want whenever they are trying to recruit. We also conduct mock placements. Mock placements are like where we try to create a real world placement scenario. So you'll have a OA session, you'll have a technical interview. Later, you will also have a HR interview. You will get to know more about how exactly interview process works in the later part, because many of your questions were also related to that. And at last, sometime we also host fun events just to cherish all of the freshers that are there and keep some icebreaker sessions so that we can also connect with you and later you feel comfortable with the club members and ask your doubts related to it. We can mentor you all. So that's what we do basically. And yeah, so how to join Linux Campus Club? I'll just address that later at the end of the meet. So right now, we'll just start with the meet, like the actual session that is Bootstrap. Yeah, as you can see, there are various domains in the current industry, may it be web dev and app dev, cybersecurity, ML, cloud, DevOps, blockchain. There are many other too, but as of now, these are some where you have a proper guidance and documentations, everything, and also a kind of experienced people, so that if you want to start your career with these, you have good amount of people who have already worked on these stuff, so that will be helpful for you. And yeah, that's what we are trying to take today. Yeah, over to Vinyas, so he'll take over from this session. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Firstly, I just want to verify whether I'm audible. Can you all let me know if I'm audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's good. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Vinyas Bharadwaj. I am currently the programming chair at Linux Campus Club. And today I will be covering the roadmap which is related to data structures and algorithms. And I'm pretty sure most of you have heard of this term data structures and algorithms even before you actually joined core computer science or you chose to do computer science engineering in a college. So we will go over what exactly DSA even means. So this is cohesive roadmap on how you can actually get started with DSA. Now let's begin with the first step, which is learning a programming language, right? And this is also the step where most of you get stuck on. You're unable to decide which programming language to select because there's so many options. Even though it's the first step, most of you are already stuck on this step. And some of the most common questions that we get from juniors is which language do we start with? Which language do we learn? And today I will give you like a cohesive answer to this question. And my answer to the question of which programming language to learn, I would say it doesn't matter. Okay, I would say it's arbitrary. So I'll give you three options. It is either C++, Java, or Python. These are really good starter languages, and you can pick any one of them. You can arbitrarily choose any one of them. But the most important thing that I would like to put emphasis on is the fact that you should at least get started as soon as possible. Because many of you spend most of your time debating which language to start with. And before you know it, 2 months of your college is already over. So you're already 2 months late. Most of you spend most of the time just deciding on which language to pick. And that's not exactly a good thing because you're wasting a lot of your precious time. So my advice to you would be to pick at least any one of the three languages I just mentioned, which is Python, C++, or Java. And if you don't like the language, you can always change it later. Because what matters the most is not the language you pick. It's not the syntax of the language. It's the programming patterns that you will learn. So that gets me to my next point, which is the programming patterns that you would have to focus on. So once you pick which language to start with, what you need to learn is it's not just about the syntax of the keywords. It's not about memorizing. And that's where most of you get confused. Most of you think it's about memorizing all of the syntax related to a particular language. And that's not the case. What computer science is all about is it's about learning patterns. It's about finding logic in things. So when you start learning a programming language, what you'll realize is most of the languages are very similar in a way. So if I start by learning C++, I can easily migrate to Java later on because the more I learn, the easier it becomes to learn more. So, like I said, the first thing you do is you pick a language, at least one of the three I just mentioned, and you start working on it as soon as possible. And if you want to change later on, you can always um, move to a different language later on. And the reason I'm telling you to do this is because what matters the most is logic rather than memorizing syntax. And I want all of you practice improving your logic. So whenever I talk about any problem related to a computer science domain, it has to do with solving a lot of logical problems. So rather than working on your memory and just memorizing syntax, what you need to do is you need to work on solving problems logically. So before jumping into code, I want you all to try practicing writing on a piece of paper. So first you write the logic on a piece of paper, and then you move on to actually coding your solution. And that would be my suggestion to all of you. So moving on to the next part, which is what exactly is data structures and algorithms? Because I'm guessing most of you are wondering what even DSA means. So assuming that most of you here are first years who just joined, freshers, you will not be aware of what DSA exactly means. So in your third sem and in your fourth sem, you have two subjects known as data structures in your third sem. And in your fourth sem, you have another subject called analysis and design of algorithms. So these two subjects are essentially part of your core DSA curriculum, which you will learn. But you'll have to wait until you join your second year, which is already very late. And for all the students who are already in second year, you probably know what I'm talking about. So these two subjects essentially just comprise of data structures and algorithms, as the name suggests. So let's go over what data structures and algorithms even mean. So when I talk about computer science as a domain, everything that you deal with in computer science has to do with data and how we store data and how we move data from one place to another place. So if I had to give you a practical example of this, think about a simple application such as WhatsApp. So if you're using WhatsApp and you send a message to one of your friends, so under the hood, what's happening is the message that you sent is first it's being stored in a central database somewhere. So you're able to revisit your old messages, right? And that's because your data is being stored. And the other thing that happens is if you send a message from your phone, your friend receives it on his phone, right? So data is being transported from one location to another location. And computer science essentially just boils down to this. It's the storage of data and it's also the transfer of data. It's the combination of these two that makes up the entirety of computer science. So when we talk about data structures are essentially just a way for you to organize your data in a neat and tidy manner. So a practical example of this could be a library. So if you've ever been to a library and you want to search for a specific book, then the entire library is divided into smaller sections, right? So if I want to search for a Harry Potter book, then I know I have to look for it in the fiction section, right? So if I want to search for any other book, like a mathematics book, then I would need to go to the mathematics section. And the reason you're able to access these books so effectively and quickly is because data is organized very neatly, or the books are organized very neatly. And that is essentially what data structures help you to do. They help you to organize data as neatly as possible. So there are multiple data structures that you will learn if you actually start getting into DSA. And each of them have their own use cases. Some of them are good for certain tasks, and some of them are not good for certain tasks. And all of this you will eventually end up learning if you do data structures and algorithms. But for the time being, what you need to realize is the use case. Where do we exactly use data structures and algorithms? And as I just mentioned, it's to store data effectively. And library is the best example I can give you. And now you may be wondering, why do we need to do this as effectively as possible? Why can't we make a compromise? And I would like to propose a counter question to most of you, which is whenever you use Google and you search for anything, you get responses almost immediately, right? It happens in an instant. Well, that's because Google uses very optimized data structures and they have very optimized algorithms, which work in the matter of seconds. So any company that puts most of its emphasis on optimizing their code will always be better because you will get the search results much quicker, taking Google as an example. But you will also need to spend less amount of money for storage because if you're storing it effectively, then you're not wasting any money on storage. So that is the reason you would need to learn data structures and algorithms. And moving on to how you can actually get started with your DSA journey. The first thing that you would have to do is learn a programming language, as I just mentioned. And this is where I would like to address another question which I get asked very frequently, which is whether Python is a good programming language to start DSA with. And the short answer to that question is the language doesn't matter. So you can start data structures and algorithms in basically any language. It could be either Python, C++, or Java. But what matters more is that you build up your logic. So if your logic is very sound, like I mentioned earlier, if you write your logic on a piece of paper before you actually start coding, then you actually start to develop your logic itself rather than a particular programming language. So if your logic is very good, then the language that you're using doesn't really matter because you can shift from Python to Java to C++. It won't really matter because your logic is good. And that is what I would like to put emphasis on is to learn, is to focus on logic and patterns as opposed to memorizing syntax. And my answer to the question of whether Python is a good language for data structures and algorithms is, yeah, sure, you can start with Python. You don't have to think too much about it. And if you don't like Python later on, you can always move to C++ or Java. It doesn't make that much of a difference because learning a new language becomes as easy as possible. And now I'd like to move on to thinking and behaving like a programmer. So most of you here are, I would argue, at least 50% of you here are from a biology background. So you're not really familiar with the world of computer science. So if you want to really delve yourself into the world of computer science, I would suggest just exploring tech in general. So essentially just Googling things. That's one thing that you'll have to get used to, which is Googling a lot of things, because uh, that's essentially the core skill of a programmer. And it's a very popular meme to essentially just say that all the senior programmers, they're they're not actually just better in general. They're just better at Googling, which is true. Because if you're able to Google and find your solution very effectively, then you are essentially just a good programmer. And now it's not just about Google also, it's also about your large language models like ChatGPT and Claude. So if you're able to use all of these technologies very effectively, then yeah, if you're able to use these technologies effectively, you become a good programmer. So talking about how you can start thinking like a programmer, I want you all to look at every real world solution as something that you can try to solve nowadays. So if you ever end up using a website or any service which is too slow, then I want you to start thinking of how you can maybe optimize it, or how you can maybe solve this problem on your own. And what are the things that I would need to learn in order to solve this problem? Because the one thing that is very necessary for all of you to learn as soon as possible is essentially just your need to explore. And yeah, that's basically what I would like to say. Good programmers don't just write code, they think before they type, right? So don't focus on writing code itself, because you're not just programmer, you're also a problem solver. And a good programmer, like I said, doesn't write code. They think before they type. They think about the logical answer to the question that is presented in front of them. And yeah, that concludes the roadmap for data structures and algorithms. So now my friend will take it forward.
So hey guys, I guess I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, fine. So myself Malik Arjun, I'm a technical lead at Linux Campus Club. I'll be just giving an overview of two main domains, web development and application development. So as you might all know, web development is basically building websites. So when you consider web development, there are actually two main parts in web development. So one is the front end part and another one is the back end part. So every website you use today, it might be Instagram or this Google Meet or anything. It's majorly comprised of front end and the back end. So let's see what front end and back end is. So front end is simply what user interacts in the website. So before coming to this meet, you might have opened this Google Meet. So every buttons or Google Forms, everything you see is basically front end. So then it's backend. So what's backend? Backend is actually what consists of main logic of a website. So say you are in a login page of any website. So there will be input fields, some buttons, some text. Everything comes under front end. Whereas when you try to log in to that website, it actually tells if you have entered a right password or not. So where do you check if it's if you are an authenticated user or not? That main logic is written in the backend. So this backend actually is essential part of any website, unless it is a static front end website. So other part with the front end is it's actually simple to learn with, when compared to backend. So if you start off with front end, you can simply learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And when you are comfortable with JavaScript, you can learn any of the three frameworks. So it's like you can learn a React.js or a Vue.js or AngularJS. So front end is relatively easy compared to backend because it doesn't have any logic, but it's actually main part of any website, because when you open any Instagram or any website, it's what user interacts. So front end is important from user point of view. And coming to the backend part, backend is where main logic resides. So to learn backend, it's actually not restricted to a particular language. So there can be, you can learn Node.js, which is built upon JavaScript with Express.js. And you can also learn Django, built upon Python, and Spring Boot, built upon Java. So this actually front-end and backend are essentially important. But what's important along with this is the databases. So databases is actually where we store actual data of a user. So before joining this meet, you would have been logging to this meet. So how does this know you are a user of this website? That's where databases comes. So databases stores all our details. It might be Instagram, it may be WhatsApp. Everything is essentially needs databases. So databases are actually of two kinds. One is relational databases and the other is a non-relational databases. So it's actually simple. Relational databases stores data in form of tables, in forms of rows and columns, whereas non-relational databases for just it has no structure. It simply stores in key value pairs. So example of structured databases are MySQL. You can also have PostgreSQL, and for NoSQL or if, it's most famous MongoDB. So uh, all knowing all this backend and front end, we all through consider as a stack. So we have a popular MERN stack. So MERN stack is where we have MongoDB for database, and we have Node and Express for backend. Along that we have React for the front end. So next is application development. Application development is basically where we build apps. So as you know, everyone builds app these days. So users are app these days. So it might be from Instagram to Google, ChatGPT. Everything has its own app. So there are two types of app development. One is native app development, and other one is cross app development. Native app development is basically you build an app for a particular platform. Like you build an app for just Android, and you write separate code to build an app in Android, and that can't be run in iOS. So for example, for Android development, it's actually Kotlin. So you can use this Kotlin and learn to build Android apps. And in order to build apps for iOS, it's Swift. So you can use Swift to build iOS apps. So, but it's actually a bit hectic to write a single app in both the platform. So say you you want an app to be built. So you write a whole different code for Android, and you write a whole different code for iOS. So that's actually hectic. That's where cross app development comes. So in cross app development, we will build an app with single code base which can be run both in Android as well as iOS. So the most common one is Flutter and React Native. So you can write code in any of these, and the app can be built in both Android as well as iOS. So if you come from the background of web development, and if you learned React, then it would be easy to learn React Native. So this is about web development as well as app development. So both are essentially important. We use it in day-to-day life. And if you want to start off with development, both of these are actually a very good one to start. But web development is relatively easy compared to app development. So this was it. So if you have any queries, you can ask at last, I guess. So over to the next person.
Before I start, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Anish, and I am part of the tech team at Linux Campus Club. and I'll be giving you an overview over machine learning and Gen AI. So traditional programming involves giving your computer some instructions in order to get a task done. Like let's say you want to add two numbers. You would give the computer some code to add two numbers and you'd get an output. But what if there was a way where you don't have to what if there was a way you don't have to explicitly tell the computer what to do? Well, that's where machine learning comes in. It basically allows your computer to learn patterns from data and make decisions on its own without explicitly being programmed. Now, most ML models have the same workflow. So we start with collecting your data. You collect relevant information to your problem statement. Once you have your data set, which you can find on sites like Kaggle, what you would do is you clean your data and pre-process it. This is basically where you're handling like missing values and you're normalizing your data. Then we come to something called feature engineering. This is basically where you're selecting meaningful input. And then you come to your model training. This is where the model learns the patterns and different things that's going on. And usually what we do is we take in our data set, we take around 80%, 60 to 80% of the data for this. And then once the model has been trained, we evaluate. So we test the model performance on the remaining 20% that we didn't take, unseen data. And the last stage would be deploying. So you use your model in like a real world app or a system. Now, popular frameworks for ML are listed here. I have an image. So you have Jupyter notebooks, which is like the environment where you build these ML and DL models. Then you have NumPy. NumPy is like the math library that we use in Python because, as we all know, ML has a lot of math involved. And the other two important ones are pandas, which you use for data manipulation. So usually your data will be in rows and columns. It'll be like an Excel sheet. That's how the data usually is formed. And using pandas, we can remove rows, columns, etc. like that. Next is matplotlib, and you also have Seaborn. These are for visualizing your data, like with charts and diagrams. And then coming to like the more important frameworks, we have something called scikit-learn. This basically has inbuilt ML algorithms that you can use. And if we come on to deep learning, which is like a subset of machine learning, this is where neural networks are used. You can either use TensorFlow or PyTorch, but nowadays, most of the community is leaning towards PyTorch. Okay. Now, moving to the next domain, Gen AI. Now, I think this is like the most upcoming domain so far because you hear it all over the news, everything about ChatGPT. So basically, Gen AI is a branch of machine learning. It's a subset. And instead of just analyzing the patterns that you find in data, this also creates new content like text, images, or audio. And the core technology behind Gen AI is something called transformers. So your ChatGPT or like GitHub Copilot, all of them use this transformers because what transformers do is they help you relate the relationships between two different entities. And that's it for the Gen AI domain. There's not much because if I go into depth, it's like a very big thing. But this is like a general overview. You just have to know. I think most people use ChatGPT over here, so you would kind of know what I'm talking about. Now, before I end my overview, a lot of common mistakes we see is that a lot of juniors, they just skip ML. They just immediately go into deep learning and neural networks. Now, this is honestly a bad idea because deep learning, you need to know your machine learning basics before you even move on to this. Like I get it, you're kind of eager to work on something big, but your foundation has to be really strong. Another thing is most people ignore data cleaning and pre-processing. You just get your data set and then you just start making a model. That's honestly like a horrible practice. You always want to clean your data and make sure you're working with a good data set because otherwise your model's accuracy or performance might vary. Now, one more thing is blindly copying and pasting code from tutorials. This can apply to any domain. Like this is what most of us call tutorial hell. in the community. It's a horrible way to learn because you're not really learning. All you're doing is just you're going on YouTube, you're just following what the dude is saying, and you're copying and pasting. You're not learning anything. You're just building something, but it's not like you're understanding what you're building. And if you want to get really good at any of these domains, I would suggest do not just copy and paste from tutorials. Now, for ML in particular, before you start actually like delving into ML, you want to actually get really good with the math and theory. I think from M1, M2 to like M4, we have things that are all related to ML, especially for the second years. You have statistics and linear algebra in M3 and M4. So if you're like really keen on ML, make sure you're really strong in these topics. Now, the last thing that's a common mistake I see is that most people build without purpose. Don't just simply build a project just because like you want to put it on your resume. Build it like so that you're passionate about it, because then you tend to learn more if you do this. And moving on, my advice on getting started, like the smart way, so you have the minimum amount of loopholes, is that you start learning Python, because Python is a really Python and R, but mainly Python, because I think a lot of people are familiar with it, and it's used in like every aspect of machine learning. And you can start off with the NumPy, Pandas, and Matplotlib, as I said, and then once you're comfortable with those, you can go to scikit-learn. Now, remember, if you're a beginner, don't just jump into huge projects that you can't do. Since you're learning the basics, build really small things, like, for example, like a price predictor or like a email spam detection, things like that. Now, you want to understand the algorithm. So don't just focus on the code. You should also know like what's happening underneath the hood. Like you should know why the code works. And just don't, again, this comes back to the don't blindly copy and paste code, because that means nothing. And popular frameworks, once all of this is done, you have your basics set, your foundation strong. Popular frameworks you can use for machine learning, for deep learning, once you're onto that, is PyTorch, like I already mentioned. And if you want to improve overall, I would say join communities. Also, you can talk to your seniors also, and try to build things with others, like attending hackathons. That's all from me. Moving on to the next person.
Hey everyone, I hope I'm audible. I'm Bhumika. I'll be speaking about blockchain. For now, let's start with an example like Facebook. Facebook has a centralized server system. Now, this means that all our data is stored in one central database, and anyone with an authorization can make changes or even delete your information. Now, the problem with such a system is that it's not transparent, and the control lies in the hands of a single organization. Now, imagine if instead of one central server, the information was stored on a public distributed ledger. Here, every participant has their own copy of the data. Now, any changes that are made are reflected across the network, and if someone tries to tamper with the data, it can be easily detected. Now, this very technology is called blockchain. So, blockchain is basically a public distributed ledger that stores the information about transactions. Now, why do we use it? Because it's transparent, immutable, like once the information is added, it cannot be altered, nor can it be deleted. And then it's secure. Tampering will be easily detected. Now, how does blockchain actually work? It has like the blocks. These are blocks, as you can see here. They have two parts, the header and the transaction information part. Header usually contains metadata like timestamps and hash values. Now, each block generates a hash value. There's something called as hashing concept, where like each block generates a hash value based on the data inside it. And if anyone tampers with that data, the hash value changes. So now here's the key part, okay? The hash of the current block is stored inside the next block's header. So if anyone tries to tamper, then the hash changes, and there will be a mismatch between the hashes of the both the blocks. Sorry. This way, the blocks are linked together to form a chain. So now, if someone tries to change the data in one block or the hash breaks, the entire chain, not the entire chain, the block will be invalid. This is how blockchain maintains security and trust without needing a central authority. Now coming to its applications, like why do we need such a system when we have a system already in place? It provides us with transparency, security, and much more. It can be used in places like finance, voting systems, healthcare, where security and transparency is very much required. Now, what are the opportunities that you can see in blockchain? Basically, it's divided into two categories, blockchain developers and architects. They build the blockchain itself, like layer one technologies. For example, you might have heard of Bitcoin, Ethereum, all those things. They build they develop small contracts and build the whole blockchain itself. And then the other category is the application developers. They use these already existing blockchains to solve real world problems by building applications. These applications are also called decentralized applications. Now, how do you most developers today belong to the second category, that's building decentralized apps on top of existing blockchains. Now, coming to the roadmap, like what and all do you basically need to get started with it? First, learn a programming language, learn its fundamentals. You can pick either Python or JavaScript. And then make sure to learn DSA concepts very well. They are very important because smart contracts, they often require like efficient ways to store and retrieve data. They have something called transaction gas, like it's basically like the fuel for the transaction. So all this to be maintained efficiently, we need DSA concepts. And then you need to understand the basic blockchain concepts like smart contracts. These are basically like rule books or instruction sets for the blockchain. For example, now if you build your application on a blockchain called Ethereum, you will need to learn Solidity language for writing your smart contracts. And then if you choose Solana, you need to learn Rust, and depending on what you choose to be your blockchain. And then you can start by building simple contracts. Start with simple contracts, not like the full-fledged apps. Build the simple contracts, and then you can move to building small decentralized apps. You can learn. You need to learn some front-end framework like React.js, Next.js, and then something to connect the blockchain on the front end. You need to learn JS libraries like 3.js, Web3.js, or something like that. And then from there, you can keep learning and explore more projects. I'll hand over to the next one.
Hello, everyone. Before I start, I just wanted to know if I'm audible or not.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So, Viber, can you share the screen or start the next one? Yeah, thank you. So myself, Tripti, I'll be talking about cybersecurity. We all have received a message that says that you can click this link to get a brand new iPhone. So when you just click that link, you'll be redirected to a page that says that you need to share it to the 10 more people on WhatsApp so that you can claim your prize. These are all the gateways for cyber attacks. Cybersecurity basically deals with the protection of our data. Every data will be stored in the online. So while we are making any online transactions, our bank details will be involved. And if we are sending any text messages or photos, those data can be breached. So in order to protect our data, cybersecurity comes into picture. And further, cybersecurity means that ensuring the data is protected and only authorized access will be given to the users. Next, there are common attacks in few common attacks in cybersecurity includes phishing. Here, the user will be tricked and he'll be sent some fake emails or links so that once clicked, it will be given access to the data and other sensitive data such as bank details, charts, and many more to the hackers. And next comes the malware attacks. In this, the software will be designed in such a way that it will be harmful for our systems. For example, virus and ransomwares. And next comes the unauthorized access. Here, the hackers will be able to gain the access without the permission of the users. Next, data breach. Here, there will be a leakage of data that is very sensitive, and the users may also tend to leak their bank details or many other details. Coming to the roadmap that includes all the skills and tools that is required for us being getting into a cybersecurity domain. First is the programming language. Getting a strong hold on one programming language, such as Python, is the most preferred language. And you also need other like JavaScript for getting a web security, and SQL for securing our database. Next is computer networks. In your higher semesters, like in your third sem and in your fourth sem, you will be having the subjects like data communication and computer networks, where you will be given a brief intro about how networks work, how the data is transferred via the networks. Here, this is also required in order to know how data is traveled in a network, so that it will be easy for us to detect where the actual data is breached, and it will be easy for us to detect the suspicious activities. Next, coming to the cloud security. Many companies like Google and many other startup companies will also store their data in cloud systems such as AWS systems and Google Cloud. Ensuring that safety is provided to such data is very essential, because any breach in data will you create a huge difference in the company that will lead to a huge loss. Next, coming to security tools, these are required to test the system, detect vulnerabilities, and prevent attacks. So every link that we click are not good or not bad. We should be very cautious about how we are using the links, and we have to just think wisely before we click, and we should always make sure that our data is safe and secure. So next comes the most awaited part of this today's event, that is the Q&A session. Over to the other person. Thank you.
Hello everyone, myself Sri Chandana. I'm a technical team member in LCC. Now let us go through the most awaiting part of this event, that is the FAQs. Coming to the first question, it's like how can I make the most out of my third year academically, technically, and personally? Okay, for this, coming to academically, you need to maintain your CGPA around 8.5 to 9.5, and studying for these academics, you don't need to study it daily actually. For CIEs and all, you can study 1 week before the CIE, like 1 second. You just need to study before the exams, like you take the credits, like which and all the subjects have a higher credits, right? You take it into consideration and focus on that, so that your CGPA will be maintained in a good way. And pick the core subjects. You need to focus on the core subjects, as they will also help you in the interviews. Now coming to the technical part, you need to be good at DSA. Like you need to pick one of the subject, one language like Java, Python, C++, or any other, and you need to be strong in that. Once after you get a strong in any of the language, you just go on practicing DSA on platforms like LeetCode, HackerRank, and all. Most preferably, you go with the LeetCode. After that, you also need to maintain your for creating a good resume, you also need to have good projects in that. So choose a domain like web development or app development, cybersecurity, ML or AI, cloud, DevOps or blockchain. You need to choose one of the domain and be strong in it. And once you become strong in any one of these domains, you also need to have a touch of all some of the other domains which will help you in the interview. And then coming to personally, you need to be good at communication and building confidence. Like get into the clubs, talk with your friends and seniors most, and do networking, build your leadership qualities. By this way, you can get your personally grow. Next, coming to the next question, I'm from a non-CSE background. How can I start learning and prepare myself to get a software development job? Okay, for a non-CSE background students to get started with that of the CS subjects, you need to start by learning any one of the programming languages. As I have already mentioned, you can start with object-oriented programming language like Java, C++, or Python. Be good in it, learn the basics, do DSA questions daily. Once you are good with doing DSA questions, like whenever a person starts DSA, right, they feel like it's not possible for me. Don't be like that. At beginning it feels like that. You maintain consistency in it. Do that question, like go through one question. If you're not able to solve it, go to YouTube, watch a lecture, and after watching the lecture, don't just code it by looking at the lecture. You write that in your on a pen and paper. Explain it like you are explaining it to someone else. Once after you do that, you just come back to that question and type it by yourself. Then you will build a strong base in DSA. After that, you also need to have some of the good knowledge in some of the subjects like DBMS, that operating system and computer networks. Once you are good with this, you are able to get into that software development roles. Alongside DSA, you also need to build projects on the domain that you choose, because in most of the interviews, they'll ask questions based on the projects that what you have built. So once you prepare all this, you're good to go. Next, jumping to the next question, what steps should I need to take? Should I take to reach the level where I can confidently code independently and build my own projects? Where should I start and how do I overcome the fear of not knowing solutions? Okay. Okay, for coding confidently, you need to do practice. For DSA, you need to do practice, practice, and practice, as it is the most important thing. You do, as I already mentioned, you need to do it in such a way that you are explaining it to someone else. So while studying, we know that whenever we explain it to our friends, we'll get to know it in a very depth way. So you need to explain it to others, solve it using pen and paper, and do the coding. Like you need to mark, if you start following some sheets and all, you need to mark which are the questions that I have already solved. And after a month or 1.5 months, you revisit those questions. If you are able to solve that question once again, then you got the concepts. You need to build logic rather than just typing the thing what you have watched in some YouTube videos and all. Next, how to overcome the fear of not knowing the solutions is just practice and practice. And building the projects, coming to build your own projects, start with the small projects like in that specific domain. Like for web development and all, start with doing to-do lists and some random number project, generating a random number and all. Once you start with the small and then jump to the bigger ones. Next, going to the next question. Yeah, I'm studying my second year and don't have any real skills beyond what I studied for exams in first year. What should I do now to get placed into a good product-based company? Okay. Yeah, this is what happened with me also. Actually, even I didn't know anything till I enter the second year. So I just prepared for the exams in my first year. After getting into second year, I got to know I need to do more than the beyond just going through the college subjects. So once you get into the second year, you should become serious. Starting in the second year is actually good, as I have heard from my seniors. Okay, to get placed in a good company for a software role or any other role for all the branches, you need to be good in the core things of your department, and then building projects. As for all the interviews, every interview from every company, they'll ask the questions based on the projects. You also need to have a knowledge of version controls like Git and GitHub, and also be very much confident and have a good communication skills and networking. Do network with your seniors, classmates, and all. For doing network and all, it's very much good to join in clubs. So whatever you do, do it consistently, like practicing the core subjects or building projects by learning something. Be consistent. And coming to DSA, if you are not consistent, you will just you need to start it once again. Like if you do a concept now and you leave it for around 15 days, then you will forget what are the things that you have already learned. So be consistent and do all the projects. Put around 2 good projects in your resume, and you are good to go for the interview. There you will be asked the questions. I'll also talk about the interviews and placements. There you get to know what are the rounds that are present. And by doing all these things, you are good to get placed in a product-based company. Now let's proceed to the next question. What types of rounds are there in placement interviews? Okay, coming to what types of rounds that are there in placements, there are actually 3 rounds. They are of OA, technical, and HR round. OA round, it means online assessment round, where they will ask, they'll check your aptitude and coding skills and some of the questions, MCQ questions related to that particular branch. Once you clear the online assessment round, you'll be taken forward to the technical interview. The technical interviews for some of the companies, it will be 1 round, and for some other, it may be 2 rounds. So in technical round, they'll ask you to solve coding questions in front of them. They'll give you a question, and you don't need to worry about you don't need to be afraid that to solve the whole question. You just, while you are solving, you need to explain them the thought process, like how are you gonna approach this question. They'll also help you to solve that question. And in the technical interview run, they'll also ask about the projects. Mostly when you get into the technical round, they'll ask the questions based on your resume. So whenever you create a resume, it should be very much specific, like you should have a proper knowledge on that full resume. They may ask question from anywhere. If you are not able to answer that, then it will be very bad. It doesn't seem good. Next, they'll ask questions based on the projects that you have put on your resume. And you also need to have knowledge about the core subjects like object-oriented programming, DBMS, OS, and computer networks. After you pass the technical round, you'll have a HR round, which is also known as managerial round. Here, they'll check your communication skills, attitude, and teamwork. Here, usually they'll put a GD, like group discussions. There, they'll check your communication, attitudes, and teamwork. Next, going to the next question. How do you balance academic studies with skill development, do you find enough time to focus on both effectively? Okay. Coming to academic studies, it's like for academics, you don't need to study on a daily basis. You can prepare for the academics, like if you have an internal, then you can prepare for that. Start preparing 1 week before it. That will be enough. And then that will be enough. And one of the good advice is that if you know that you are able to prepare for the CIE and college exam in the time of 2 days, then only keep 2 days for that. Do not waste the time on that. Because if you have time, you can do develop your technical skills on that. And by doing this, you can manage your CGPA around 8.5 to 9.5, because CIE and all won't take, you'll have only around two chapters, I guess. If you have 2 chapters, you can manage it. And coming to skill development, you need to be consistent. You need to give time for this on a daily basis, like studying DSA and web development daily. Like if you study DSA in the morning, you need to study the web development in the evening. You need to give time for this. By effectively doing this, you can grab enough time for your development of your technical skills. Now let's proceed to the next question. How can I perform well in interviews? Okay, this is an interesting question. As I already told, know your resume inside out. Like whatever, like internships, projects, and skills that you have put on your resume, you need to know everything, because they may ask question from anywhere. And next, while solving the questions, coding questions that are asked in technical rounds, you need to think out loud. Like you need to tell what you are gonna approach, your approach for solving this question. For any question, there will be, for DSA, there will be like better brute force optimal and a better brute force better and optimal solution. So whenever you tell them the brute force better and optimal solution for the interviewer, they'll get to know that you know these things. So while you're solving, just tell them this is the brute force. So I'll do next optimal and then proceed by solving that question. Next, the most important thing is revising fundamentals, because in technical interviews, they'll ask questions on your fundamentals. You need to revise them very thoroughly. And before getting into interview, on a daily basis, you need to practice communication. And then before going to the interview, practice mock interview. Take mock interviews so that you'll get to know how am I going to answer the questions and all. You'll get an experience by taking mock interviews. You can use website like Pramp and all for taking mock interviews. And also you can use GPTs where you can interact with that to take a mock interviews. And most importantly, you need to be honest and positive with the interviewer. If they ask a question and you don't know it, don't just try to tell something else to them. It's not good. You need to be honest, telling that I don't know it, I'll learn it and further. Okay. This is about performing in interviews. Going to the next question. Okay. How can I join LCC or other technical clubs? Is LCC a fresher friendly club? Does it offer a learning opportunity for beginners, or is it mainly for students who already have technical experience? Okay. LCC, for joining an LCC club, will provide a recruitment, and you need to apply for the recruitment drive. And after that, first you will have an assessment. Once you finish the assessment round, you are allowed to get into the interview round. In the interview round, will ask some questions. If you answer them in a good way, you get selected into the LCC, or any other technical rounds will also have the same procedure. Coming to LCC is a fresher friendly. Yes, it is a very fresher friendly club. And our club will regularly conduct workshop, boot camps, and sessions designed for beginners for you to learn in a step-by-step way. You can coming to the learning opportunities for beginners. Once you get into LCC, you'll have a lot of learning opportunities there. You can make a connections with the seniors and learn from them, and also you'll have an opportunity to work on some of the projects. And coming to the next one, is it mainly for the students who already have a technical experience? It's not like that actually. Um, you can get into LCC even if you don't have any technical experience. And we also have many domains in LCC like student coordinator, technical tech domain, and creative, editorial, and others. Okay, going to the next question. As a third semester lateral entry student, I want to excel academically while also building technical skills. What steps should I take to improve my CGPA, upskill efficiently, and increase my chances of getting placed in a good place, good company? Okay. As a third semester lateral entry students, as you will be directly introduced into the branch, you will not have that many connections with the seniors. You need to build a good connection with seniors first of all, and also you try to get into the clubs because that helps you to make more connections. To improve your CGPA, you need to, as I have already mentioned, you you need to maintain a good CGPA around 8.5 to 9.5. For that, you need to focus on the course and the subjects in a credit basis. Like some of the subjects will have a 3 credits and others will have 4 and all. Based on credits, if you study, you can manage a good CGPA as you'll get high marks. If you get a high marks in a high credit subject, it will automatically increase your CGPA. And you also need to have a good technical skills. So do not focus too much on academically. It's fine if you focus on academics before a 1 week, as I've already mentioned. And to increase your chances of place in a good company, you need to do a lot of practice. Once you start practicing DSA and all, you should be very thorough with the solving DSA questions. Once if you start solving them, you'll get to know whether I have got these concepts or not. Like it's better if you follow some of the YouTube channels and sheets like Striver's DSA sheet and Kunal's sheet and all. They are good actually. If you go with those sheets, it is enough for the interviews. It's not like solving all the questions that are available. Solving standard questions is very much important. So solve the standard questions. Okay, you should be solve the standard questions, and you are able to solve all the questions. Take contest like in lead code, you'll have a contest on Sunday, I guess. Participate in that, then you'll get to know how much knowledge you have and how you are able to apply the concepts that you have already known and all. And then technically, and also you need to build good projects so that you can get placed into a good company. They'll ask questions based on um, the projects that you have built. And the most important thing is you should be very consistent with developing the technical skills. So develop these the technical skills on a daily basis. Okay, next it will be continued by my friend. Over to you, Chetan.
Hello, hello. Am I audible? Hello, hello.
Yeah, Chetan, you're audible. Go on.
Okay. Acha. Okay. Let's continue with the question, guys. Like, okay, on to the next slide with the access. Vaibhav, did you give the access? The slide. Oh,
I've changed it for you. I've changed.
okay. Thank you. So let's begin. I'm an EC student aiming for a good placement in embedded systems or VLSI domain. Can you give me a clear roadmap of what skills, projects, and tools I should focus on to achieve? Okay, you're basically in EC, right? So most of the things you deal with, all the hardwares as well as some of the softwares also. Basically, embedded system and VLSI comes in that only. First, I would ask you to learn any programming language which is C and C++ majorly, because most embedded systems and VLSI are focused on more on that only. So starting learn those basics. After learning those basics, try anyhow. Your main thing is to have a you work both majorly on hardware as well as software. So if you can afford, or you might be having more Arduino Uno in your labs or Raspberry Pi, get it. Try to like simple codes, starting like owning and offing the bulb. Start with that. Okay, learn how you integrate software with the hardware. So you'll get to hang of it, and you will like. Okay, move to Linux next, because most of the companies who work on embedded systems use Linux for all their operations and stuff. So learn Linux and build projects. Like take a major project like solving problems in agriculture. There are so many different domains where IoT as well as these embedded systems are involved more. Try to take the concept, implement it yourself. It need not be higher level of scale, but you try to do it and try to post it on LinkedIn or any other stuff, so that people can notice you. In summary, learn C or C and C++. Start integrating your code with hardware and software, and sorry, there was a message. Okay. Next, learn Linux and do a major project. One or two major project will be good for placement stuff. So how much does GPA matters in placements on campus and off campus? Does company change their cutoff every year? And is it true they have internal cutoffs too? Well, as per my knowledge, if you maintain 8.5 to 9.5, anywhere around it, you're good for every company for this thing, placement. Is it much to have knowledge of DSA? I think you're talking about previous question. One of the person this commented that you need to have DSA knowledge for VLSI.
Chetan, the chat questions will be addressed by our members. You can continue with the most asked questions.
Okay, cool, man. Cool. Okay, as we are talking about GPA 8.5, if you go below 8.5, it is very difficult. Most of the companies you will not be shortlisted. If you go more than 9.5, it's a very good GPA. I'm not gonna lie, but thing is that if you focus more on GPA, there are two disadvantages. One, company will always look for somebody who has more skill. If you focus on GPA and doesn't develop any skill, it will be a problem for you only. And having a higher GPA means people think that all the recruiters who think they might think that you might go for higher studies, 1 or 2 year you will work and you will leave. So it's not that I'm not demotivating anybody to score less GPA, like less than 9, or even like demotivating don't get 9 above 9.5. But the thing is that this is the ideal range. Try to maintain in between these two, okay? Because you have to manage skills also. If you manage skills and get 10 GPA also, it's like ultimate thing. Well, on to next question. Does the college provide any support or guidance to help students get placed? Okay. Uh, when you get into third year, right? There is something called as PS, placement secretary, or you have to vote one of your classmates to be that placement secretary. This guy, placement secretary, is in charge. He's like a communicator between the placement office as well as this thing. Uh, you as your classmates. So whatever the company which is going to come, or whatever the information about placements and internship, first PS will get to know about it. Placement office will inform the PS, and PS will inform you guys. That is one of the thing. Apart from that, keep developing skills. So you might get placement kind of offers in third year only, in on campus. If you want, you could search for off campus internships as well. But yeah, you develop your skills. Placement secretary is there who will going to coordinate with you. No worries. Next slide, Weber. Okay. If we are not part of a club, how can we connect with people and build our network? What's the best way to approach them? Okay. If you unfortunately did not join club, it's not an issue, because we have like LinkedIn and stuff. Even we are in the campus only. You can come meet us. First message us through LinkedIn. You could send us a connection request. Okay. We'll be having our socials will be shared later, I guess. Okay, send us a LinkedIn request or connection. Then we if we will accept it, we are going to accept, obviously. Then you start your conversation. Hi, I'm interested in this. You start, because it is not compulsory that we only help who are there in the club. We are like open to all. If you come and ask that you have this idea, you want to implement this project, which is very better for like solving this kind of problem, we'll surely do our maximum effort. We'll put our maximum effort to help you guys, even whether you're there in club or not. It's not like a partiality thing. But coming to how you can connect with us, we'll connect us on LinkedIn. Even some of us have Instagram. You can connect through that also. Yeah, basically you can connect, send messages. We'll definitely reply. We are glad to help you. Okay. Since a few companies have restricted criteria against candidates with previous backlogs, even if cleared, what can candidates who fall under that category do to stay eligible or enhance their placement opportunity? Okay. Most of the these things come under HR thing. Okay. Till their OA round, I think you will not be restricted that you have a backlog. Don't write OA itself. I think it's not that case. Technical, they might in technical, obviously they will going to scan your resume. If they get to know that you have a backlog and you have cleared it, I hope you don't create any backlogs. But if unfortunately for any reason you have created a backlog, then what if and you got it cleared, while HR round or the technical interview round, if they ask you have a backlog and stuff, why is that? Just clearly explain this was a be very honest. They'll not. They are also humans. They will understand. Okay. Say that this was the reason why I got a backlog, and I've cleared it. I've learned my lesson. You explain them. They will understand. There's no issue that okay, you have a backlog. Some companies which are offering high packages might question you more on this, but apart from that, I will say don't create backlogs. And if you create, explain to the interviewer. If they ask, only explain. If they don't ask and you try to explain, I have a backlog, it will be like you're like going to the truck. You're just lying under the traffic road. That's it. A car will come and hit you. That's. Is Python good for practicing DSA? As Vinyas said, it doesn't matter which programming language, but try to choose anything which is C++, Java, or Python, because these are like object-oriented programming languages, which will help you even with the OOPS concept in the technical round. If somebody asks you a technical question on OOPS, you could use any, if you know any of these three programming languages, you can even answer that. And for practicing, you can practice with Python. Major intention of DSA is to solve problems. Okay. Uh, like as we said, take a sheet of paper, try to solve it. Like pseudo code. They say pseudo code, right? Like it's not a complete code. Any language. You what you understand, how your approach is, you write into the paper. First you do that. Next you can convert into Java, C++, or Python, anything. What software stack and level of professionality would be ideal for job? Okay, I would say build projects. Basically, what you add into your resume are projects only. Okay, projects must be not like copy paste like Amazon cloud, this clown, or like YouTube clown. No, you add some of your feature. Okay, you clown. Initially, you might be not knowing much of all this kind of what they say professional things. So what you do is that try to clown after understand each and every line of code. After understanding it, try to implement, add a feature on that only. Or if you have any idea, you while doing project, obviously will have some idea going through that. If this was there, then it would have been much more better. You try to change it. Okay. Basically, projects should solve real world problems like hackathons. Moreover, I think I have a question on that. I think but hackathons, you will get a problem statement. You work on it, and you can add it to your resume as well. And if you win, you'll get goodies, cash prizes, and stuff. Moreover, on that later. But yeah, certainly. Do whatever you do, build real world projects. That's it. How can we better utilize placement office on second floor of the Golden Jubilee Farm? As I said, third year you'll get a PS. I think placement office will help you select your PS based on the voting. After that, they are going to communicate clearly to all through the PS, and PS will then communicate to you all. I think there will be no issues. Your PS will handle, the placement secretary will handle everything for you. That will be the thing. How to get started in AI/ML app dev data science? Please suggest some good resources for each field. I think you might have gone through all the domains which my friends discussed. In summary, AI/ML, app development, and data science. Okay, data science is basically you're going to sort the data and like for ML, to train ML, you have to have a particular data set which is very clean. If you give some junk data from the internet, your ML model will be not so great for usage. That's what data science is. I think app development and AI ML, they have already discussed. Resources part, you might take course. There are Udemy, like they launch offers like for 499, 500, under 500 only, they will launch the courses like in weekly once discount. So you can buy a course, or if you want to go completely free, there are so many YouTube channels which are going to teach you for free. First, get a roadmap. After getting a roadmap, try searching the videos on particular things. You'll get it easily. YouTube is the biggest like university now. You don't even need degree. Like YouTube will teach you most of the things. I'm interested in open source system and other technical projects, but it is my first. It is my first MIA. How should I get started? Okay. Uh, Start coding. Okay. When you start coding, first you have to have a GitHub account because all of the codes will be in the GitHub itself. What you do is that there's so many things. If you even don't know what coding, like you're starting with very basic like loops or switch cases, very basic. If you're starting, then also you, what log into a GitHub account, create a GitHub account, log in. There are so many projects, open source project which has good first issues. Type, you will be having a tag called good first issue. You can type in YouTube and you can get to know more about it. In search, you can go for good first issues, and so many open source project. What they do is that there are so many technical people, they are professional who work on the open source project. Unfortunately, documentation, nobody like more focuses on it. So what you can do is you can help them contribute to their documentation first. You don't need to know coding itself. Just you have to understand the people who will be there in the open source community, who is there in the project, will say these are the project, this is will explain your entire project. You can create a document for the readme.md file. If you go create a GitHub account, I'm saying you that is the most important thing. Okay. There readme.md file, basically it's like documentation. It's like a script for how to use the project and stuff. You can help them start contributing it. Along with that, what you are doing, like learning coding and stuff. So good first issues and documentation. Good first issues, you need to know a little bit of coding, but you can manage with the basics also. For documentation, you don't need coding. You can just understand the project and help them with the documentation purpose. You can create networks. If you, it's like some people like, I don't want to create documentation, I'm not improving my skill. It's not like that. It's like you can create connections. All right, if you create connections with the person, he himself will mentor you. Learn this, learn that. You will get a mentorship kind of thing if you have a great communication skill and stuff. Okay. On to next question. I'm a civil engineering student planning to learn Linux. How can it help my career? What's the salary scope in civil versus okay? If I get skilled in Linux and is possible to transfer on the okay, while managing both fields. Okay. Civil engineering and IT. I think you have to pick one, man. Or he or him or her. I think you have to pick one because learning Linux, it's like out of the blue. You're saying, I want to learn Linux. I'm not demotivating you or anything, but if you're really into like IT kind of sector, you go for it. Okay, you maintain certain amount of GPA and you learn all the other stuff. Even we are doing the same thing. Only thing is that what we learn in the college is different. That's it. You learn civil part of the this thing. I learn CS. That's it. Apart from that, whatever the DSA projects, it's same for all. Whoever person want to get into IT field. Salary comparison, I don't know about this thing. Civil engineering. But yeah, if you are like really passionate about getting into IT because you love tech and stuff, you can do it. But managing both, it's like managing both. It's like having your legs in two different boats. Either choose one. It will be better. Take time, decide. Yeah, it will be better. Um, I think slides. Okay. How do seniors typically see or review their juniors? We basically rag them. Nah, just kidding. Just kidding. We are not going to rag them. Is there anything important that most juniors tend to overlook, which you think could help most make the most of the college life? Okay, college life. I do understand you worked hard for your whatever examination, competitive examination to reach. But the thing is that you want to enjoy college life as well as this thing is what your skills. I would say 80% or 85% to 90% you have to give to skills and stuff. Like ultimately you have to get placed, right? Placed, or you start your own startup, or you like want to get into business, whatever it may be, you have to give 80 to 90% towards skill only. College life 10%, like monthly once you go trip with your friends or somewhere. I will say best thing is that if you go to hackathons, it will be like both you are going to like a trip and as well as you are going to improve your skill, because most of us go to hackathon in Bangalore, Mangalore, Hassan, those kind of places. We'll get extra time in between. You could go out, explore. You can have fun as well as you will be like enter into competition. If you won, it will be like a good perk also. Uh, that's yeah. College life, you cannot do 50-50 actually. Like having 50% skill and 50% I will enjoy college. At least 80% you have to give it for your skills. Rest 20% you make a good peer group who do lot of fun as well as who grind their ass off for skills. What are the recent placement trends in our college? How do placement vary between core and IT roles, and what factors usually influence the package range? Okay, all depend on skills. All depend on skills. Like real world project is everything. Like even if you do a simple web dev, but it should solve some real world problem, then only it's like useful. If you simply create some just non static website, like using a React, I think they will they have said, I guess, in the web development part, using React, just create a portfolio website and add it to your resume. It will be like it is not solving any real life problem actually. So try to solve real life problem, whether it might be you saw AIML is there, you saw web development, you saw app development, blockchain, so many things are there. Only thing is that company sees value what you're adding to them. Adding value in a sense, they are solving some real problems, right? Real time problems. So try to solve those things. It might be small or big, it doesn't matter, but it should always go towards that solving problem. That is the factor which is going to influence the package. Okay, I learned C and a bit of front end in my first year. Great. And now I want to pick up C++. Good, good. And backend and DSA. Your first year, man. You have started off great. He or him or her. Okay. But it feels like a lot at once. Yeah. How can I manage my learning without getting overwhelmed and still make steady progress? Okay, you learned in your first year. Basically, I think you are now in second year, right? Don't take tension. You can do it. You have started off with good, to be honest. Front end, okay, good. Back end, you can learn in, like, if you like plan it properly, you can do it in 1 month. Also backend, if you're going for web development, you can go for Python based backend like Flask or Django, or if you want to go for JS side, JavaScript side, you have Node.js and Express.js. Those are not too hard to learn. If you dedicate your time, like 2 hours a day or 1.5 hour a day over 1 month, you can aram se build like next level backend stuff. C++, okay. C++ will basically help for it will be very helpful for your DSA, no doubt about it. See, anyhow you learn C, it is a little bit similar only. You will learn fast. Lot. Okay. You get overwhelmed, right? Problem with the newer generation, they are like they want everything now itself. I need the knowledge now only. Within 1 hour, I need to learn those kind of stuff. I would say to take good amount of time means perfect. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. Okay, quality. Even if you anyhow in resume and stuff, you only mention 3 projects, you don't mention 30 projects. You give a GitHub GitHub link, people, recruiters see it. But solid 2 to 3 projects, you have to work in depth. Okay, don't get overwhelmed. You're in second year, I believe. Whole year you can work on your skills, not an issue. You still have 1 year time. Don't worry. Take 1 year time, divide it into months, plan every month what you want to learn. Okay, then you can do like achieve every month your goal. That's it. Yeah, a lot of time to be honest. Next slide. I think that's it. Over to our chief coordinator, Vaibhav.
So, hello again, everyone. How was the session? I want to hear from all of you. So, if you can just open your mics and talk about it.
It was great.
Raise your hand
So much help.
particularly. It will be confusing if all on their mics.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
amazing, bro.
Okay. Anusha, you can speak. Anusha, are you there? Okay, I guess she's not here. Fine. Ravi Rani, yeah, you can speak.
Yeah, the session was insightful, but I had a small doubt. Like, if I have to enter the LCC club in first sem itself, what knowledge should we have to crack the recruitment process?
Okay, that's a good question. I said I would address it at the end. Yeah, I'll address it. Let's just hear, please. Pranav, you want to speak something?
Yes, it was so good. Like, I don't know much about the tech things, but in this, I got to know about so many things which I can potentially do in my 4 years. I'm a fresher in first sem, so thanks a lot, you guys.
Yeah, that's good. So, summing up all of the things, there were a lot of things that was mentioned today. We'll make sure the PPTs are also forwarded to all of you guys. Yeah, Ankush, you can speak.
Hello.
Yeah.
My voice is audible.
Yeah, you're audible, Ankush.
Yeah, I have one doubt. What are the platforms through which can learn the coding?
Okay, so we have mentioned a good number of resources in the chat section. We'll also make sure we have created a WhatsApp community for you guys. So since if you have missed out anything, we'll just come there and help you out. So you can join that too. And coming to coding, you will have a very good foundation in your college with C and one more in your elective. It might be Java, Python, or C++. Choose any one of them and learn problem solving, logic, and yeah, that's how you can start with coding. If you want resources, you can go with Jenny's lecture for C language. That's like one of the basic thing everyone use. But if you want a presentation oriented thing, Jenny's lecture is more of a handwritten notes kind of thing. If you want a presentation based, then you can go for um, there's one more channel. I'll just let you know when I remember. Yeah, I will just let you know that I'm not getting the name. Fine. Hello. Am I audible?
Hello, I have another question.
Okay.
For our first time, we have the web technology. In that sir would teach the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So should we learn that HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and after that we should learn C programming, or we should learn first C programming or that after JavaScript?
Okay, that's a very good question to be in first year. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, they serve a different purpose, and C programming itself serves a different purpose right now for what you're learning. So you should keep both of them in parallel because that's how your curriculum has been designed for you. web technology is an chemistry cycle for you guys, and C programming is an physics cycle for you. So right now, just focus on web technologies, and it is very easy. Like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is plain, and there is no much logic in HTML and CSS though. But in JavaScript, as you start making your website functional, you'll get to know more about what and all are the options there. So you have it in your curriculum, you will have to learn it. Just make sure you just don't restrict yourself to the curriculum itself. Explore beyond. We have also mentioned some resources like maybe super simple dev for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. He is very good, but yeah, the guy is very slow. You can use him in 2x. So, and he has done a very great job with the YouTube courses. And yeah, so any more questions from anyone?
Like for the first time, we can learn the web development.
Yeah, you can start with web development. And also, if you are interested enough, then you can start with a programming language also. So that will help you. But anyhow, you have C language in your even semester, and you'll be learning JavaScript now. So you'll get to know what are the basic programming concepts. So yeah, if you are interested, then you can pick up one more language. And if you want to go parallel, then you can do this. Or if you want to just focus on one domain, then you can do that too.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Plan your timings, plan your schedule. That's how you can manage stuff. Okay, so you can talk.
Hi, the session was very insightful, and I wanted to ask that I'm almost done with my JavaScript. What are some of good resources to learn MERN stack and backend?
Okay. So we have noted down your question. So yeah, after doing JavaScript, you can start with one stack. Basically, I know some of the divided resources. You can go with Hitesh Chaudhary's React course. It is also featured in Free Code Camp. So there you can learn React. Right after learning React, you can learn about Express from React from Hitesh Chaudhary itself. He has done a very great job when it comes to development. So and later when you get to know what exactly front end and back end is, the integration part, you can use some of the guided projects like YouTube tutorial, but make sure you don't make the mistakes that were mentioned before, so that you also learn along your code and create some projects.
So is there any particular need to study a Bootstrap or Tailwind CSS, or just the normal CSS will do the job?
Okay, that's a good question too. As of now, no one uses Bootstrap. It's very less used. And normal CSS, that gives you a good idea on how you can style your websites. But current trend is where React is being used with Tailwind CSS itself, so that everything's manageable there within the components. So you can try learning Tailwind CSS. So that will be helpful for you. If you have a good knowledge about CSS, then Tailwind CSS is the way to go for you.
Okay, thank you so much.
So, any more questions?
Hi, bro.
Yeah, hello, Kiran.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Bro, if I want to talk about session, it was very informative. I want to ask that I got seat in JCE through aided seats.
Okay.
I want to change my branch. Is that change of branch is only available for students who got unaided seat, or the students who get aided seat also change their branch?
See, change of branch is very much dependent upon several criteria. Aided and unaided seat doesn't matter for it. But if at all, if you have got your seat through a SNQ quota from KSET counseling, then that will be difficult because you are not allowed to change your branch if you have come through SNQ quota. Other than that, you can get a change of branch, but you need to make sure that your academic performance is very much good. It's outstanding. and it also depends on the type of branch that you apply for. Can I know which branch are you currently in and which branch are you interested to change to?
Bro, I'm in civil engineering branch.
Okay.
I want to change for any branch related to computer science.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, you just want to come into tech. That's a good idea. But yeah, make sure your academic performance, as we mentioned, you have a very good GPA, and there are other criteria also like your KSET rank that will be considered when they offer change of branch. But yeah, if you really want to get your branch changed, you can try these. Yeah, you can apply for CS, IS as well as CSBS. They also have AIML this time. So yeah, you can try for any one of them.
Bro, means I'm in first year. Should
Yeah.
I focus on technical skills or to improve CGPA or improving CGPA?
Okay, that's like what hypothetical question you have been asking. Since you want to get a change of branch, having a good GPA really matters. Along with that, as you are also interested in tech, you can explore. Having a good CGPA doesn't demands you to study for 24 hours. That's not what you do. Just plan accordingly whenever you have your internals. Plan within around 1 week or 1.5 week before and start studying. Get resources from your seniors. The problem, like a short problem that you guys might face, is the change of scheme, because till now it was 22 till us, and from the next year it was 24. So your syllabus has been revised, and it is actually helpful for you also because many of the concepts have been removed. Keep in touch with your faculty, get to know what are some of the what good questions that might come in the internals. They do help you out in terms of these. Just don't hesitate because it's for your thing only. So you can keep in touch with them, and make sure when you write your semester end examination, your answers are very well described, and don't just restrict yourself to what your faculty has taught or taught, and you can just go to other sections, get notes from other section, refer them, and see for any of a good approach, because in semester end examination the paper might not go only for your faculty. So yeah, consider that also. And coming to technical, yeah, you can start off with what has been provided to you in the curriculum, and then exploring a little bit more about other things like other domains that are there, what exactly you can focus on, what exactly interests you. You can explore that too. That would be my suggestion.
Okay, bro. Thanks.
Uh, Cool, guys. So summing up, I was telling that there was a lot and lot of information that was given to you guys in just one day. I hope you were able to process all of them. Even if not, we'll make sure that the PPTs are forwarded to you guys in your class groups, and you can also connect with us through the community and also on our Instagram page, LinkedIn, as well as mail. But yeah, try avoiding formal and just come on to WhatsApp and raise a query or a question. Many of you have been doing this for last 1.5 week. That's why we thought of having this session where we can just bring in all of the juniors to the meet and talk and address all of the questions at once. But yeah, many of them were also not able to join, but the meet has been recorded and we'll be posting it on our YouTube channel so that even they can hear out the seniors. And about the last thing that I think most of you are waiting for is about the club recruitment, right? Okay, so LCC's current year club recruitment is already done. So yeah, our next year of recruitment will be 2026 after the even semester. That will be like, yeah, currently you guys are in odd semester. So whenever you are entering your second year, right, that time the club recruitment will be starting. That will actually add up on an edge for you guys also, because you will have 1 year of time to learn yourself, upskill yourself, and also decide upon what exactly you should do. So yeah, Yeah, not even for non-tech roles. We keep our hiring at one time. So yeah, usually according to the statistics, the club recruitment has been for second years, like the ones that will be entering second year for current sem, because of the club structure. We are planning to revise it so that even new guys can get into it next year, as well as the freshers that will be entering as 2030 graduation batch. Even they might get an opportunity to join the club next year. We are planning for restructuring. So yeah, we'll let you know about that. So yeah, and also there were like a lot of questions that were very much relevant to each other. So we have just summarized most of them into some of the most asked questions, as you see. So if you just don't get to see your own phrasing in the PPT, don't mind. They were just summed up with one single question, because many of them would have asked, will CGPA really matter? So that was addressed in one single question. Yep. So that's it for today's. And yeah, I had one more very good announcement to make. We'll be having our introductory event on 29th of October, this month itself. So our introductory event is a fun as well as a club orientation for all of you guys. So this is something that we named with Bootstrap. So if you are keen to know what exactly a Bootstrap is, Bootstrap may be what a CSS library in your mind, but coming to operating system concepts, it's a program that loads operating system. So after bootstrapping, the next step is booting up. So our introductory event where we'll actually boot up with an offline event will be on 29th of October. So we also hope all of you come to the event, have some fun, and get to know about the club more. We'll be releasing our calendar of events. We'll be releasing our website also on that day. So you'll get to see a lot of good things on that day. So we hope all of you join and yeah, make the most out of it. Thank you guys. Thank you for attending. You may all hang up the session now. Members from LCC, please stay back. Yeah, thank you.